Living Single looked like just another sitcom about 6 friends sharing a Brooklyn brownstone, but what happened behind those walls was anything but simple. Today we're uncovering 18 revelations that will change how you see this show. From buried casting battles to a rivalry the network never wanted you to notice. And stick around, because there's one jaw-dropping bonus at the end that absolutely nobody talks about. So speed up with me, because the list starts now. Number 1. The show almost aired under a completely different name. 3 weeks before launch, this show wasn't even called Living Single. In March 1993, Fox announced the series under the title My Girls, a name creator Yvette Lee Bowser chose as a tribute to her own close friends from Howard University. Queen Latifah had already recorded a full theme song to match that title. The marketing was already rolling, and the premiere date was locked in. Then, with only 3 weeks to go, Fox abruptly changed course and demanded a new name. Their reasoning sounded almost comedic. Executives worried My Girls would make audiences think the show was about a father raising young daughters. Latifah had to scrap the song she'd already finished and rush into the studio with producer DJ Jeff to build something entirely new in days, not months. That rushed session produced We Are Living Single, now remembered as one of the most iconic sitcom themes of the entire decade. Here's the detail that makes this even stranger. One of the other titles Fox floated before settling on Living Single was, of all things, Friends. That exact name landed on a different Warner Brothers show barely a year later, one that would end up shadowing this cast for years to come. A last-minute title swap accidentally foreshadowed a rivalry nobody could have predicted yet. Number 2. A 27-year-old woman built a show from pieces of her own life. Before this show existed, there had never been a black woman who created, produced, and ran her own primetime network series. Yvette Lee Bowser broke that barrier at just 27 years old, and the wildest part is how personal her show actually was. Only 6 years earlier, she'd been an unpaid apprentice on another series, fetching coffee and taking notes for other people's visions. Now she was the one in charge, and she didn't build the show from nothing, she built it from herself. Each of the 4 female leads represented a different side of her own personality: the driven entrepreneur, the hopeless romantic, the high-maintenance dreamer, and the sharp-tongued fighter. Even the male characters had roots in her real life. She named one lead after her own boyfriend at the time, who later became her husband, and gave the other character the name of that man's real-life best friend. What looked like a polished network sitcom was, underneath, basically her own diary disguised as comedy, a detail almost no viewer at home ever picked up on. That kind of personal investment explains why she fought so hard to protect her vision in the battles still to come. Number 3. The network tried to erase one character before filming even started. Before a single scene was shot, network executives called the creator into a meeting with a demand that could have changed television history. They wanted the sharp-tongued, unapologetic attorney character cut entirely from the show. On paper, they argued, she was too aggressive, too confrontational, too intimidating for audiences, especially male viewers, to embrace. In other words, she was unapologetically black, female, and fierce, and that scared them. Bowser refused to budge. The character was inspired by her own real-life best friend, and she told the network point blank that removing her would mean removing a piece of herself from the show. The role almost went to a different actress entirely before something shifted and the part reopened. The actress who eventually won it walked into the audition, read the part, and was filming just 2 days later. Even then, it nearly fell apart again. After the first table read, one executive wanted her gone, until another person in the room reportedly threatened to physically intervene if anyone touched her casting. Nobody touched her again, and that character became one of the most recognizable figures in black television history, purely because one woman refused to soften her vision for comfort. Number 4. The breakout role was written for a completely different performer. Before the actress fans now associate with the role of the sweet, quirky cousin ever stepped onto that brownstone set, the part was written specifically for someone else. The role was designed around a British rapper, a real-life friend and collaborator of Queen Latifah's. With the two of them, having even won an award together before the show existed. Bowser believed their genuine off-screen chemistry would translate perfectly to the screen and shape the character entirely around that dynamic. But when it came time to lock in casting, a major obstacle appeared: visa and work authorization issues that made it impossible for that performer to legally star in a network series before filming began. With time running out and no way around the legal hurdles, the production had to recast at the last minute. The actress who stepped in had recently been let go from a different sketch show and had been passed over by multiple networks before this opportunity appeared. What was meant to be one specific person's star vehicle ended up rescuing a completely different career, and the role became so associated with her that almost nobody remembers it was built for someone else first. Number 5. 2. Cast members' real mothers played their TV moms. The family warmth on this show wasn't only acting talent, because 2 of the actresses brought an unfair advantage to set: their actual mothers. One lead's real mother had 0 acting experience and no background in show business whatsoever, yet she was cast to play her daughter's mother on screen, bringing a kind of natural warmth that simply cannot be written or rehearsed. Another lead's real mother was the opposite story entirely: a seasoned professional actress who had worked in the industry for years before joining the cast as her own daughter's TV mom. That veteran ended up doing double duty behind the scenes, quietly coaching both her castmate and her own daughter through their scenes, helping them find timing and emotional beats that read as effortless on camera. Those mother-daughter pairings gave the show a grounded, lived-in quality that few sitcoms of that era ever achieved, because audiences were essentially watching real family bonds dressed up as fiction. Years later, after one of those real mothers passed away, the surviving cast paid tribute to her during an anniversary special, finally letting fans understand just how much of that on-screen warmth had been completely real all along. If you are enjoying this, take 2 seconds and leave a like. Subscribe if you want more videos like this. That support really motivates my work and helps a lot with bringing more content. Number 6. An actor who blew up in comedy already had another career fail behind him. Before landing her signature role, the actress who played the show's sweet, quirky cousin had already lived through a painful professional rejection. She had joined a different sketch comedy series during its very first wave of talent, part of the original cast that helped make that show a cultural phenomenon. But after just 1 season, the show's creator let her go, claiming she wasn't versatile enough for the format. She remembered it differently, saying she was never genuinely given a fair shot, and that favoritism toward the creator's own sibling shaped which sketches got greenlit. Devastated, she said she would simply sit in her dressing room and cry rather than fight back. After the firing, networks weren't interested in building anything around her. 2 separate networks passed on shows built specifically for her talents before this opportunity finally arrived. The show that didn't believe in her versatility lost out completely, while the show that simply let her be herself turned her into a star for 5 full seasons. Sometimes the rejection that feels like the end of a career is actually clearing space for the role that defines it. Number 7. A future Oscar-nominated actor was quietly guarding the set. Long before he became an Oscar-nominated actor known for major studio films, one future Hollywood star was working a much less glamorous job: security on this very production. To make ends meet while chasing an acting career, he took on bodyguard and security assignments, and this set became one of his regular gigs. Cast and crew simply knew him as the large, friendly man stationed at the soundstage door, someone who treated every shift with total professionalism. One actor who worked alongside him for years later described him as a gentle giant, calm and reliable, no matter what was happening around him. At the time, absolutely nobody on that lot could have guessed that the man checking IDs and watching the doors would eventually become a globally recognized movie star. It's the kind of detail that only makes sense in hindsight, a future legend hiding in plain sight, while everyone else focused on the actors in front of the cameras instead of the protection standing quietly behind them. Number 8. One star faced a terrifying threat that never made the tabloids. Fame on a hit show came with real danger that almost never reached the public. One of the leading actresses became the target of an obsessive stalker who somehow managed to get past studio security and onto the active set while filming was underway. The situation escalated fast, with the man approaching her aggressively in a moment that genuinely frightened everyone present. Her castmate, who played the lovable handyman character, saw what was happening and reacted instantly, physically stepping between her and the intruder to shield her from any further contact. He held the man back long enough for security to finally respond and remove him from the lot entirely. It's a frightening story the cast chose to keep quiet for years rather than turn it into headlines. A reminder that the warmth audiences saw on screen existed alongside real risks the actors faced just for showing up to work. That kind of protectiveness between castmates wasn't written into any script, and it says far more about their bond than any blooper reel ever could. Before we keep going, subscribe if you haven't yet. Drop a comment telling me which movie or show you want me to cover next with strange behind-the-scenes facts. I read every single one. Number 9. A small gold key was a secret tribute to a lost brother. If you watch closely, you probably noticed it. A small gold key the lead actress wore around her neck in nearly every single episode across all 5 seasons. It wasn't a styling choice, and it wasn't a prop handed to her by wardrobe. 1 year before the show premiered, her older brother died in a motorcycle accident at just 24 years old. The devastating detail that still haunts her today is that she was the one who had bought him that very motorcycle as a birthday gift only months before the crash. She had actually planned to be with him that day, but stayed behind at the last minute to help a friend move, a decision that almost certainly saved her own life. After his death, she took the key from his motorcycle, had it coated in gold, and turned it into a necklace she wore everywhere, including on set, day after day, episode after episode. So every single time fans saw her character laughing through another storyline, they were also quietly watching a grieving sister carry her brother with her. She later dedicated an entire album to his memory, but the necklace remained the most personal, most permanent tribute of all. Number 10. The set wasn't built for this show at all. Here's a quick one, but it's too strange to skip. The brownstone interior used for the very first episode wasn't designed or built specifically for this production. It was recycled directly from a different beloved Warner Brothers sitcom about a working-class family, reusing the same walls, the same layout, even the same staircase that another iconic TV family had walked up and down for years. After that first episode aired, the production team finally redesigned the space and made it their own. But for that debut installment, this cast was technically performing inside someone else's recently vacated television home. 2 completely different sitcoms, 2 completely different audiences, 1 literally recycled set, all because that's simply how budgets and lot space worked behind the curtain at a major studio. It's the kind of detail that's invisible to viewers, but obvious once you know to look for it. Proof that even iconic, groundbreaking shows often start out standing on someone else's leftover floor plan. Number 11. A superstar's talk show appearance launched a co-star's entire career. Before he became the show's lovable handyman character, one actor was working in a paint warehouse, taking computer classes on the side, with no clear plan for his future. He tried stand-up comedy almost on a whim, and 9 years later, he finally won a national comedy competition. That win caught the attention of a legendary late-night talent scout, who booked him for a single set on one of the most influential talk shows of the era. He performed, the audience loved it, and then something genuinely rare happened. The show's iconic host waved him over to sit on the couch during a commercial break and asked if he had representation. He didn't. The host told him he would by the end of the night, and he was right. Within 10 days, he booked another comedy showcase, and by that fall, he was invited back to the same couch for a second appearance. 2 years later, he was cast in this very show. One unscripted late-night moment, a single question asked during a commercial break, ended up reshaping an entire career trajectory that nobody could have predicted from a paint warehouse. Number 12. The network president admitted he wanted this exact show. This is the detail that changed everything for how this cast viewed their place in television history. In an interview, the president of a rival network was asked which show airing somewhere else he genuinely wished belonged to his own lineup. His answer was this exact series. 1 year later, that same network premiered a brand new sitcom built around 6 single friends navigating careers, apartments, and relationships in a major city, produced by the very same studio, filmed on the very same lot. The parallels were impossible to ignore once people started paying attention. One actor from that newer show later admitted in an interview that it was entirely plausible the studio had been encouraged by this show's success to greenlight the project. The creator herself pointed out something even more telling: that same studio promoted the newer, whiter show far more aggressively than they had ever promoted hers, despite both airing under identical corporate ownership. This show arrived first and proved the concept worked, but the other one walked away with the spotlight and the bulk of the marketing budget. Number 13. Executives demanded weight loss from the #1 show in America. This is the part that still makes fans furious. This wasn't a struggling show fighting for survival. It was the most watched series in Black and Latino households in America, season after season, with only one other comparable show ever matching that streak. And yet, while ratings kept climbing, the female leads were repeatedly pulled aside and told they needed to lose weight. One actress later revealed that at the start of every single season, her manager would receive a call from network executives insisting she needed to slim down, with the implied threat that the writers would otherwise be instructed to start writing jokes about her weight directly into scripts. Think about that timeline for a second. The network was profiting from record viewership and policing the bodies of the women generating that success at the same time. Quick reminder to subscribe if you are enjoying these revelations. And tell me in the comments, do you know any strange fact about this movie that I didn't mention? Let's build the list together. Number 14. The cast quietly refused to let the network humiliate their friend. The network's plan to pressure one actress over her weight never actually made it onto the screen, and that's because of a quiet act of rebellion from her castmates. When 2 of the other leading women heard about the threat to insert jokes about their friend's body into the scripts, they were furious, viewing it as a direct attack on someone they considered family. They went to her privately and made a pact. If a single weight-related joke ever showed up in a script meant for them to perform, they would simply refuse to say the lines, no matter who pushed back. They were prepared to take that fight all the way up the chain, from writers to producers, to network presidents if necessary, just to protect their friend's dignity. Faced with a unified front from the show's most powerful and bankable stars, the network ultimately backed down, and those jokes were never written into a single episode. It's a piece of solidarity that never appeared in any interview for years, proof that the sisterhood audiences sensed on screen had very real teeth behind the scenes whenever it actually mattered. Number 15. A massive marketing gap revealed how the studio really saw this show. Despite dominating the ratings in its target demographic, this show was treated by its own studio like a small niche program, rather than a flagship hit. Its promotional budget stayed remarkably modest, with advertising placed almost exclusively in a narrow set of publications aimed at Black audiences. Then, when that newer, more famous sitcom about 6 friends launched roughly a year later from the very same studio, the marketing approach flipped entirely. Billboards went up across major cities, bus ads blanketed entire metro areas, and the promotional rollout was treated as a major corporate event. Watching that disparity unfold on their own studio lot sent an unmistakable message to this cast, even if nobody at the network ever said it directly out loud. One show had quietly been filed away internally as a program with a limited niche audience, while the other, despite an almost identical premise, was marketed confidently as something for absolutely everyone. That kind of racially coded business decision didn't just affect ticket sales or ratings in the moment. It shaped which show got remembered as a defining cultural phenomenon for the next 3 decades. Number 16. A future A-list actor had no idea this show even existed years after both shows had ended. An actor from that newer, more famous sitcom suggested in an interview that maybe there should be an all-black version of his old show. The comment sparked immediate backlash online, with people quickly pointing out that this exact concept had already existed years earlier on the very same studio lot with this very cast. The actor later issued an apology and admitted something genuinely stunning. He had no idea this show was even airing while he was working on his own series. He said he was completely unaware that another hit sitcom sharing an almost identical premise was being produced by the very same company just a few hundred feet from his own soundstage. That confession became unintentional proof of exactly how segregated the entertainment industry had quietly become behind the scenes, separating its black-led programming from its white-led programming so thoroughly that one star genuinely didn't know the other show existed, despite walking distance separating their sets every single day. Number 17. A loyal castmate paid the price for speaking up too often. As frustration grew over how unevenly the studio treated this show compared to its newer counterpart, one castmate became the unofficial voice of the entire group. The actor who played the sophisticated, sharp-witted male lead wasn't afraid to push back when he felt the writers were leaning on lazy stereotypes, particularly in how the two male characters were being written against four strong female leads. He repeatedly brought concerns to producers, not only about his own storylines, but on behalf of the whole cast, challenging plots that felt inauthentic and demanding deeper, more respectful representation. His castmates appreciated having someone willing to fight those battles for them, but that same outspokenness quietly earned him a reputation inside the production as being difficult to manage. He was the one constantly asking uncomfortable questions and demanding accountability from people who weren't used to being challenged. That reputation, built entirely from advocating for better treatment of an entire ensemble, was quietly putting a target on his back long before anyone outside the production noticed anything was wrong. Almost at the end, and the best is still coming. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and drop your city or country in the comments. I want to see how far this video is reaching. Number 18. An executive meeting ended a castmate's career on the show. The tension between that outspoken actor and the production's leadership finally reached a breaking point during a meeting that would quietly end his time on the show. During a break in production, he once again brought the cast's accumulated concerns to the creative team, laying out grievances about the writing, the storylines, and the studio's unequal treatment without holding anything back. What he didn't realize in that moment was that the people across the table had already grown tired of hearing it. Sometime after that confrontation, his lawyer called with news that shouldn't have surprised him as much as it did. He had been fired. There was no farewell conversation, no heads up, no chance to process the decision before it became final. It had all been decided behind his back, finalized through a phone call rather than an honest conversation with the person it actually affected. The network found it easier to remove the voice raising the problems than to actually address a single one of them. Bonus. The firing nobody talks about was the show's biggest betrayal. This is the one that still stings the most, and the one almost nobody outside diehard fans ever fully connects to everything that came before it. After that meeting, his character was simply written off, given a quiet, throwaway exit involving a job transfer overseas, with no proper farewell episode and no real emotional send-off for a relationship that had defined the show for years. When he asked the producers directly whether he was being fired before that final episode even aired, they lied to his face and told him they would never break up the group. He went home, watched his own goodbye scene air on television like any other viewer, and within minutes of the credits rolling, his lawyer called to confirm his contract wasn't being renewed. He later said it wasn't the firing itself that hurt the most, it was the way it was handled, finding out his real ending from a phone call, rather than the people he'd spent years building a show with. A casting insider later told him the studio had quietly spread word that he was difficult and unprepared on set, language that followed him into future opportunities for years afterward. He has said openly that speaking up while black in that industry often gets reframed as a character flaw rather than advocacy. He only returned for the series finale, and the reunion with his former on-screen partner was reportedly emotional enough that both of them were in tears on set. Years later, on a reunion podcast, she finally told him what she'd never said out loud before, that she genuinely didn't know how to play her own character without him there beside her. That's the version of this story that rarely gets told. A show built on black joy and chosen family also quietly punished the one person who refused to stay silent about how that family was being treated behind the scenes. And it's a debt the show's legacy has never fully repaid. And those were 18 strange facts about this groundbreaking show, plus the bonus story almost nobody talks about. This series mattered more than a simple sitcom slot in TV history because it proved an all-black ensemble could carry a network hit while quietly fighting battles most viewers never saw unfold behind the laughter. If you made it this far, leave a like, subscribe, and comment which fact surprised you the most. And don't forget to suggest another movie or show that deserves a list of strange facts like this one. See you in the next video.